guys, and welcome to this week's edition of the Coffee and Hero Show, being recorded on a Wednesday morning this week. My usual plan is to record on Tuesdays. We close at 5. I have sort of 45 minutes to bang this out, as they say. But yesterday we had a visit from the great Tony Moore, co-creator of The Walking Dead. Worked on Venom, worked on Punisher, worked on all manner of great stuff, Fear Agent. And he did a signing at Forbidden Planet last Saturday. I rushed around to meet him after we closed at 5 because I'm a fan. You know, I love to meet these guys. And got round, lovely bloke, signed some nice stuff to the store. Told him a few stories, and he said he would pop round to the store before he left. He's from Cincinnati. And he popped round yesterday about 4:15, and we must have just, chatted away everything, comics, life, death, and everything in between for a good hour or so. Thoroughly lovely guy, and that just cut into my recording time for the Tuesday. So as I say, recording this Wednesday, but totally worth it. So it's all good. But store wise, we're taking over nicely at the moment. We've been nice and busy in terms of getting stuff out onto the shelves. I've been doing a few bits and pieces. I'm focused on the variant section at the moment, relabeling, repricing, and reorganizing the DC and Marvel variants. So they're definitely worth checking out. I'm going to be extending the DC variants to 7 boxes and the Marvel variants to 6 boxes. We have a lot of stock, a lot of cool stuff, and again, it's all being repriced, and 90% of cases the prices are going down. So it's definitely worth checking those out. The variant boxes themselves are in the individual sections, so they used to be underneath the main releases there, but the DC variants now are in the DC section, and Marvel in the Marvel. I know, radical. But yeah, just working away on that. We've got some new stocks coming as well. There'll be bits and pieces being fed into the back issue bays. Graphic novel wise, always adding stuff, as you will see when I go through it here. Not everything is always new releases. Sometimes it's just restocking of classic stories, making sure we have them in stock. We've got a figure delivery coming from Heo, our supplier in England. Got some exciting stuff in that. Got some nice statues. Got some nice action figures. Yes, there's some cool stuff coming through there as well. We've got 50 graded comics coming back. They are due in the next 2 weeks. So if you have stuff away with us, that'll be coming back. We'll obviously get in touch with everybody individually, let them know that they've arrived back and that when they're ready for pickup. We will be sending our next batch. This will probably be the last batch for this year at the end of October. So if you have anything you want to drop into us to send off, October 31st is the cutoff point. They'll be sent that week, and then, as I say, obviously once you get into Christmas and New Year's and stuff, there's no point sending stuff away there. You don't want to get lost in the post, so to speak, during the busy period that is Christmas. So this will be the last time we send away this year, as I say, guys. Hopefully they'll be back before Christmas, but I can't guarantee that. You just don't know. I've seen it take 6 weeks. I've seen it take 3 months. So again, we can only send them off straight away to London from that cutoff date and hope that they're back in time, but it really does just depend. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, as you can see, surrounded by comics, so I'll jump into this stuff right away. Before I suppose I should just remind you once again of the Declan Shelby signing this Saturday. So once again, 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I mean, the signing last time with Deck was great. This time his profile and his body of work's even bigger. Obviously very well known for Moon Knight, endless covers, endless runs on Marvel Comics. Now, of course, he's launched Old Dog, his own creator-owned comic. We'll have copies of that on the day. Cover A's, cover B's, cover C's, cover D's. We ordered big on it, as you know. And then hopefully you guys enjoy it and then maybe stick it on the pull list. But completely free signing, no charges whatsoever. And, you can chat the Deck ask him about the Moon Knight premiere, that he went to 2 weeks after leaving us last time. So, but yeah, thoroughly cool guy, ridiculously talented, really nice guy as well. So, that signing is this Saturday, 15th of October, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, be there. So, but yeah, into this week's stuff anyway. I've got 4 different piles here. We've got some variants in this week. We've got my own pull list this week. And then we've got stuff new to the store as well, which is a nice mixture of hardcovers, a couple of omnibuses, compendium, and then lots of graphic novels as well. So we'll kick things off with the variants anyway. There's not the biggest of selections this week, but there are some really nice variants that we do have in stock. So first of all, you've got Batman vs. Robin 2. The first issue of this was fantastic. Easily one of the best things DC have put out this year. Mark Waid just totally understands the Batman mythos and universe and where it is right now. Also heralded the return of a fan favorite character. But with this one, it's Greg Capullo doing variants. So issue 2, Greg Capullo, you can never go wrong with that. Next up is DC's horror anthology offering this year, which is called DC Terrors Through Time. So again, anthology-based stories with a slightly more supernatural or scary twist. It's a full 96-pager. What they've done with this one, which is really cool, they've embraced their inner 80s, and this is what's called a VHS variant cover by Steve Beach, sort of showing like a movie that never happened, a little bit of Harley and Deadman on there. Really great cover for the last issue of Jurassic League. This is by Brett Booth. Absolutely love this, with of course this title's version of Darkseid just looming over the League themselves. But yeah, big fan of that title. You have, believe it or not, this is for Ghost Rider, but this is way too cool of a cover not to get a few copies in. Basically, Marvel have been doing a range of Beyond Amazing covers, so sticking Spider-Man on variants. But with this one, obviously an homage back to the days of Ultimate Spider-Man. This is done by Carrie Andrews, but again, really kick-ass cover. Next up, we have Venom. So this is by Dave Raposa. Usual Venom goodness, dark, brooding, supernatural, slightly disgusting, big long tongue. Can't go wrong with a Venom variant. And then the last one should have been in last week, but they only sent us our copies this week. But just in case you don't know, obviously with Kaya, we've been operating that as part of our #1 initiative, as well as Old Dog, offering those titles at cover A's at a reduced price. So if you want to pick those up, just to give a new title a try. But when we interviewed Wes Craig, he said he's going to do a variant for each issue that's inspired by something that inspired Kaya. For issue 1, this is inspired by the great, the one, the only, the king, Jack Kirby, and his stuff. So the variants are in this week. They should have been here last week along with the cover A's, but Diamond. Also, the reason I did this show last week because there was like 75 issues missing. Yeah, I really wasn't in the mood to try and record stuff and talk happy things about comics. But this week I'm delighted to say I think there was 2 issues missing and maybe an omnibus, but it is what it is. But anyway, that is the variants this week. So again, they'll be underneath the new releases. New variants always go out there. We always keep a selection of variants from previous weeks as well, just in case you guys missed out on any of those. So we move away from the variants section and onto my pull list, which of course covers a majority of the releases this week. As I always like to state, there are always titles that aren't on my pull list, but are out this week. So this is not by any means completely exhaustive of what's out. There is other stuff on top of this, but for my pull list this week, it's quite light on DC, it's quite light on Marvel, and it's massive on Indie, as it always is. So first things first, I just mentioned there, Batman vs. Robin, so issue 2. So Maman Azrar is the series artist and also cover artist when it comes to cover A's. So first up, Batman vs. Robin. We do have 1 or 2 copies of Batman vs. Robin #1. So if you do want to backtrace, give this title a go. It does link very nicely to the Robin run, but it also links completely to basically what's going on in the DC universe right now. I'd mentioned as well with variants there, Jurassic League, we also have the cover A. This reminds me a little bit of the Venom 3 cover, which I thought was pretty cool. Juan Gideon on covers for these, and Daniel Warren Johnson as well. Just anything Daniel Warren Johnson touches turns to gold. Next issue of Superman, Son of Kal-El. Now, this is part of a crossover event called Kal-El Returns. So Superman essentially coming back to Earth. This is part 2. You should be able to read these on their own, but if you want the complete story, you need to be reading Action Comics as well. We've ordered more copies for next week of Action Comics for the part 1 of this story, but again, Superman, Son of Kal-El's out this week. There are guys that only have Superman, Son of Kal-El on their pull list. There are guys that only have Action Comics on their pull list. And of course, there are a rake of people who have both. But it's just to keep you aware, it is a crossover event for the next sort of 4 or 5 issues. There or thereabouts. Next up, we have the next issue of Wonder Woman. So Joelle Jones doing the variant for this. As you well know, I do variants when it comes to Wonder Woman, not the cover A's. So pretty much it for DC. Marvel-wise, as I say, I've only got a couple. Now, Marvel-wise this week, there is quite a lot of other stuff out. It's just stuff I don't read. There's a few Star Wars titles, for example. There's some X-related titles that I just don't read. So it is what it is. But there are a few in here anyway. So I've actually got a wee bit of a mix-up. There's more than I thought. Let's grab those. So kick things off, Venom. Ram is back on this issue. Obviously, they've been sharing duties. Ram B, Al Ewing, and Brian Hitch on art. Oh, nice smooth landing there for comics. But yeah, so it's as I say, Ram B's back on this one. Brian Hitch, of course, on art. I'm up to issue 11 of Venom. Next up, we have Punisher War Journal. These have been fantastic one-shots based on the Punisher universe at the moment, which has been a great stuff from Jason Aaron. It's Torun Grombeck's been writing these tie-in titles, but they have been awesome. All one-shots. If you've got Punisher on your pull list, I'll have stuck one of those in your box, so just to keep you fully up to date. Should have been out last week, part of the rake of issues that we're missing. We have New Fantastic Four, number 5, so we're continuing on with a Peter David title. You know, going back to those older continuities, great stuff there. And as I say, last issue. One of Marvel's best titles for me is Ghost Rider, Benjamin Percy. This has been fantastic. Supernatural, actiony, adventure-y, snarky, sarcastic, funny, and just good storytelling there. And again, I took one of the variants and the cover is. Yes, I have a problem, I know. Next up, we have Amazing Spider-Man. So we're continuing on with the Zeb Wells run. John Romita Jr. is back on art for this issue. Always a good thing. Up to issue 11 here, The Return of the Hobgoblin, but which one? Next up is Daredevil. Any week with Daredevil is a good week, as I like to say. Chip Zdarsky continuing on with the fantastic, essentially the Matt and Elektra Daredevil title at the moment, prominently featuring both characters. Next up, we have Chilling Adventures of Salem. This is a one-shot set in the Archie horror universe. Cullen Bunn doing the bulk of the writing here. Francesco Francavilla cover for myself there. We have Dark Spaces Wildfire. This is up to issue 4. Be hitting trade soon. This has been a great title from Scott Snyder and Hayden Sherman. It's all to do with these ex-con female prisoners who work as firefighters. They get sent into like the most dangerous wildfires there are because obviously their lives are expendable. But they decide to try and carry out a heist while dealing with one of the fires. Very, very good. Do a Powerbomb introduces itself. Quite simply, top 3 Image titles at the moment. Daniel Warren Johnson, Wrestling, Dragon Ball Z. Just get it. Like when it hits trade, I'm going to be pushing that to the moon like you wouldn't believe. Next up is Hitomi. So this is a new samurai-based title from HS Tack and Isabella Massanti. Don't know an awful lot about it, but it's Image. It's brand new number 1. It's got samurais. Sounds cool to me. Next up, I just introduced it, of course, Kaya. With Kaya, I'll be collecting cover A's and B's. So again, that's the Keen Kirby tribute. Look at that, one of each. Next up, we have Love Everlasting. So this is the Tom Keen Elsa Chartier. Sort of a love story trapped in Looper / Groundhog Day, set across different time periods. I'm still not 100% what's going on, but not in a, like, this is badly written, really confusing way, just in the way the story's being laid out, piece by piece. But I'm really, really digging it, and I think the art in it especially is fantastic. Next up, we have Starhenge, next issue of that. So Liam Sharp, his creator-owned magnum opus. We're reaching issue 4 of that. And we finish off with Return to Year Zero. This is Volume 0. This is the zombie title from AWA Studios. We've had Year 0 and Year 02. Now we're going to Year 0 Volume 0. So this is obviously going to be a prequel going back to when everything kicked off. I think Fear the Walking Dead, I suppose. Well, Fear the Walking Dead for like 3 episodes. And then it just becomes another zombie show. But I'll not get into that. But anyway, that is my pull list. So we will move away from there and on to what's new in this week. And new in this week, I've included 1 or 2 titles from last week as well, just because they were ones that I'm a big fan of, highly recommend. Obviously didn't get that showcase last week because we didn't do a show, but I just wanted to show them off a wee bit this week. So I'm kicking things off with one of those releases, and that is Joe Hill's Reign. So this was a 5-issue mini-series based on a Joe Hill book, of course, creator of Lock and Key. Contractually obliged to say Stephen King's son. David Embor adapted it, so writer from Kanto. Again, we always follow creators, so a creator whose work we enjoy. And Zoe Thorogood on art with some fantastic art. This is sort of end of the world stuff, just nails just start raining from the sky and killing people. Post-apocalyptic. I do feel it kind of been a little longer, but that's more a testament to the quality of it than it feeling open-ended. I thought this was a great title. It's only 5 issues. They've done it in this beautiful hardcover. Highly, highly recommend. Next up is the latest edition of Farmhand. So we're up to volume 4 now, so we're up to 16 to 20. Farmhand, from what I understand, has always been Rob Gilroy's plan to do 30 issues. So we're entering the back half of the title now. Again, we have volumes 1 to 3 on the shelves at all times. Again, it's one of those titles we just love and love to push. So if you want to jump into that, issues are over there. Next up, it's always a good week when there's a new Reckless book. And this week it is Reckless Follow Me Down. So the 5th book in the best-selling Reckless series. Again, we always keep the first editions on the shelves. So we've got the first 4 books if you want to jump into this. quite simply, fantastic stuff and essential. I've been asked recently to get a few more bits and pieces in from The Crow, so I got this one, which is The Crow Pestilence, written by Frank Bill, art by Drew Moss. So IDW, who of course owns the rights to The Crow these days, they pump out these wee mini-series every so often, so anytime I see some in stock, I'm going to get those in and increase the amount of Crow-related stuff. Next up, we have Soul Plumber. So this was really popular in single issues. This is a DC horror, again into hardcover here. So this is written by Marcus Parks and Henry Zabrowski, who do the last podcast on the left. And it's got illustrated by local artist John McRae and PJ Holden as well. Obviously, this is the Halloween season's coming up, so the horror books increase. The Closet, this was brilliant. James Tenney IV and Gavin Fullerton on this. All to do with the monsters that lurk in your closet. Really good miniseries from Image Comics. We have Moonguard, Endangered Species. A little bit of Miles Morales action on the front there as well. So this contains all the one-shots that were released in single issue form, collected into one trade. So Miles Morales and Moonguard, Avengers and Moonguard, and X-Men and Moonguard as well. A little bit of Captain Marvel action on the back. Part of the Resistance universe in AW issues, we have the Joneses. This is essentially their answer to Fantastic Four. So written by Michael Morecki, art by Alessandro Vitti. This was a 5-issue miniseries, all 5 collected there. Again, AWA continuing to do their £9 price point, which is great to see as well. Getting all the compendiums in one at a time for The Walking Dead again. Just quite simply one of the best comics out there. These compendiums are always fantastic value. They come in around the £55 mark. That's for 48 issues. That's nearly £1 an issue for one of the single best comics ever released. So I'm going to be getting all the compendiums in over the next few weeks. Speaking of fantastic omnibuses and some of the best stuff around, last week saw the release of American Vampire Omnibus Volume 1. This week sees the release of Volume 2. So this is the complete American Vampire. American Vampire is written by Scott Snyder. The initial 5-issue run was co-written by Stephen King. Art by Raphael Albuquerque. Quite simply, Scott Snyder's best work. Everyone knows how much I love Court of Owls, for example. Everyone knows how much I love Witches. Everyone knows how much I love Noctera. You know, Snyder in general, Dark Knight's Metal. Snyder stuff for me always appeals. He's a writer who I greatly admire. But American Vampire, to me, some of his earliest work is still some of his best. Follows vampires through multiple decades and showing how they're always there, pulling at the power levers in the background of major events in history. Love it. You know I've got one of those for myself. Even though I have all single issues, but you know, beautiful omnibus. Next up, we have a couple of titles in the younger readers. Again, I like to always point out the smaller books, easier for smaller hands to hold, shall we say. So we've got Marvelverse Shuri, first of all, which can collect some of sort of Shuri's classic stories. So collect Shuri number 1 and 6 and 7, Marvel Action Black Panther, and some material from Marvel Voices number 1. And then you also have a new Miss Marvel book as well called Generations. G. Willow Wilson working on this. So this contains Miss Marvel from the 2015 run, 36 to 38. Generations Miss Marvel, a Marvel Team Up 1 to 6 as well. New volume this week of Sick Tick, Something That's Killing the Children, up to volume 5. So this is covering issues 21 to 25 of one of the best horror books around. Erica Slaughter is now on the road and helping people along the way, like some, multi-city hopping exterminator. Fantastic stuff. This is a really glorious edition. We've only got a very limited amount of these, so these appeal to you. Act on it fast. This is called The Night Eaters. It's an original graphic novel from the team behind Monstrous, writer Marjorie Liu and artist Sana Takeda. These are actually a previews exclusive limited edition to 3000. They come with, it's first of all, it's an exclusive cover, but also they come with a little bookplate inside that has been signed by writer and artist as well. Really looking forward to jumping into this myself. I've heard loads of great stuff about Monstrous, but yeah, The Night Eaters, Sheets the Night, so this is going to be volume 1. And again, extremely limited. We only got a few copies of those in because they were essentially allocated, so you weren't guaranteed all your orders. A couple of epic collections next up. We have Venom, first of all. We're on the volume 5, so we're covering 94, 95. You got Spider-Man, The Arachnus Project, Web of Spider-Man issues, Separation Anxiety for Venom, Carnage Unleashed, Sinner Takes All. And on the back you have Venom throwing down, I should say, with Ben Reilly as well. You got new Wolverine Epic Collection as well, Back to Basics. This is volume 2 of Wolverine, so you're going right back to the 80s and 90s, so 1989 to 1990. This collects Wolverine 17 to 30, Wolverine Nick Fury The Scorpio Connection, on Wolverine the Jungle Adventure as well. So some great creators working on that. We got a restock of The Boys, so we're again trying to make sure we always have all 6 volumes in stock. So back on the shelves this week are volumes 1, volume 4, and volume 5. And then, of course, a restock of Deadly Class, the 1 volume we were missing on the shelves, which is volume 6, which was about halfway through from what I remember. Oh, what a book. Yeah, 27 to 31. So you're about halfway through with this, with volume 12. It's going to be the last volume. So yeah, those are all in and going on the shelves in about 5 minutes time as I start to set the shop up for New Comic Book Day. So yeah, as ever, anything appeals to you, get in touch. Anything you want out of your pull list single issue wise that you maybe had missed out until now, just let us know. Again, everything going on the racks today, and it's gonna be a good week. A lot of great stuff. So yeah, so again, just remember, Declan Shelby signing this Saturday, 2 to 5, completely free. Bring your books. We'll have books on the day as well. Some variants from Deck. We'll have some, obviously, those copies of Old Dog. We'll have some of his graphic novels. We've got, for example, a little stock of Savage Town, which has just been picked up for an animated series from Deck as well. So we'll have tons on the day, and that's going to be a really fun day as well. So, but anyway, as ever, I hope this proved useful for you. I hope to make it a bit more routine. If Diamond would just, make sure my deliveries are right, and make it as weekly and consistent as possible. So again, hope it proves useful, guys. Hope you're staying safe out there, and I look forward to seeing you in the store soon. So take it easy.